Hi, this is Michelle. It's day 1 of my water fast at True North, and it is approximately 7:35 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So the big question you're probably all wondering is, am I hungry? And I was pretty good going all day. Well, I would say half the day until about 1:42, and I know that time exactly because I looked precisely at the clock, and that's when I felt that first twang or tinge of hunger. So yes, I am hungry, but not overly so, not like famished or so. I just drink my water, and I probably have drank well over half my body weight. Fortunately, they do allow sparkling water, so that's been like really helpful for me because I do like sparkling water as well, and just a little bit, it's a little bit of variety. And when I first had the intake yesterday, I was like, well, can we put lemon in it or fruit? And it's no, plain water, right? So it can be warm, so I've mixed like hot and cold water together. So that's really it. There's really not much to report because there's no food intake that's been ingested. I have had a dull headache, but that headache started basically on my flight. So I don't know if it's just due to being tired or, maybe going, even though caffeine, I don't drink coffee and caffeine's not a large part of my diet. I do drink green tea, and green tea does have caffeine in it. So it could be that. But let's see, just as far as a rundown of, what goes on here at True North, there's educational programs. For some of you that aren't familiar with True North, education lectures throughout the day, generally at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And then Hi there, so just a little bit about today's lectures. The first lecture was by Dr. Doug Lyle. So as many of you may be familiar with, he's the author or co-author with Dr. Alan Goldhammer of The Pleasure Trap. So this talks about all the reasons why we seek those pleasurable foods and want to do as little as possible to seek pleasure. So it's inherent in our DNA for us to want to do as little as possible. And eating greens and kale and that stuff requires a little bit more effort in the chewing. So if those of you that have not read this book, I highly recommend it, as I know Chef AJ is a big advocate of reading this book. So definitely put it on your summer reading list. So that was a big thrill, and fortunately another big highlight of my day was Jimmy Brock was visiting, so that was great to see him here. So shout out to you, Jimmy. Thank you for coming. It was really great to see you, and we were fortunate enough to sit with Dr. Goldhammer at his table. So that was really awesome. And the things that Dr. Goldhammer shared, sweets are my thing. So, he did say that, just the more and more that I move away from them and not eat them and not indulge in them, the better I'll be. And certainly water fasting helps expedite that process versus a 3 or 4 month process to neuroadapt. Water fasting, 7 to 10 days can really expedite that process. But, he did also share that is, unlike salt and oil, or fats really, that sugar is one of those things that really is probably a lifelong cravings that our bodies will have, or at least I will have in talking with him about my situation. So some people just don't have that much of a craving for sweets, but that is mine. So whether, and it's great that I've, maybe swapped out bananas and sweet potatoes and mangoes, but it's really looking to even refine that further, because when I'm tired and fatigued and not getting my sleep, those are the things that I'll just indulge in. So anyway, so it was a really big thrill to have both Dr. Lyle and Dr. Goldhammer today, to really spend some time with them, and also Jimmy Brock. So, and then the second lecture was by Dr. Gracie Yoon, and that was focused on core. So core including, not only our midsection and posture, but also bringing into mind glute awareness. So that was really interesting. So there's all sorts of really interesting things, and that will enhance your learning, and again, I'm happy to share with you, and it's like I'm just trying to be a sponge and take it all in, and I'll be able to share more as time goes on. This is really my first time also videoing, and so forgive me if it's pretty basic or not the best filming, so forgive me on that. Another thing I was just looking, just to let you know, folks that have been to True North, you see, no makeup. That's another really big thing that, so it's kind of bold of me to, not really, but to be sharing here. So there's no makeup, really no scented products of any kind. So if you bring your own, even if you aren't fasting, it is, it's asked that you not use your deodorant and things like that, because people going through fasting are highly sensitive to smells. That hasn't necessarily kicked in for me yet, but it's not even a full day fasting, right? But no makeups. Let's see, I'll look in the book. You're given this handy dandy handbook that is in your room, and there's a full stuff in here. So basically, let's see what I can find for you. Okay, so actually, just being clear about water fasting participants and other participants here at True North. So you're not, fasting participants have to stay on property at all times, and that's for safety reasons. If somebody, they don't want potentially harm to come to you if you're dizzy or feel faint and you're off property. So that's the other thing. Also, showering is limited. If a shower is taken, and you also have to generally receive permission to take a shower, it's just usually requested that you sponge bath for, if you're looking to bathe at all. So sponge baths are often the preferred option here. I'm just reading again from this handy dandy manual. And let's see, also just to move a little bit more slowly, because there could be, if it's a quick sudden burst to get out of a chair or out of bed, there could be some faint, one could feel faint or dizzy. Also, as I mentioned, it is requested that fasting participants not use deodorants, toothpaste, lip creams, mouthwash, perfume, over-the-counter drugs, vitamins, herbs, or cosmetics during the fast. So, because they say that limits, may affect the overall benefits for healing. Teeth are brushed, but with water. So, and then people had asked about medications. So the use of prescription medication would be discussed with your specific doctor at the time of intake. So I know folks had asked about medication, and that is a case-by-case basis. So, you may see things on the website that say, all medications, but it really depends on your specific situation. So again, there's live lecture programs. There's certainly DVDs that we're given a whole a file of DVDs that we can listen to as far as educational DVDs. So that's helpful. Another really interesting thing is that every morning between 7:30 and 9:30, usually it seems on the earlier side, they came pretty close to 7:30 this morning, that you are asked to really not do much activity, to kind of just stay in your bed until the doctors come around for their morning rounds. And what happens there is they do ask if you can, do have your weight available. So you get up, weigh yourself, maybe if you're going to go to the restroom, and then weigh yourself, go back into your bed, or gently sit. The rooms are in a suite area, so sit in the suite area. But I was laying in bed this morning, and the doctor came in, and he takes your vitals. So that vitals include blood pressure, temperature, pulse, and other physical measurements if they so decide to take those. Urine samples are also collected, not every day, but you'll be told. And then lab work, blood work is also collected. Again, that's certain days of the week here. So that's really interesting that, they're just checking on. It's completely medically supervised, so there's nothing to be worried about here at True North. And then also very interesting is that there's evening rounds. So we'll also get an afternoon or evening visit between approximately 3 to 6, I believe. So they'll take notes if you have questions. So I usually, if I'm not able to see one of the doctors during the day and ask a question, I'll reserve my questions for the people the doctors during the rounds, or people making the evening rounds. So that's somewhat about it right now, and I really appreciate you tuning in and listening, and allowing me to kind of share here with you. So as I said, I'll probably indulge a little bit with house of cards or a show, and probably call it I'm here to get some R&R and read. So I'd love for you to post things, any questions you have, and I know, folks, I will do what I can to get all your questions answered. And thank you so much for your support. Day 1 almost down to living well.